If you're apprehensive about something, attack it. That's the best way to get rid of that fear. So if there's an issue, it goes back to that candid conversation in the Buds classroom and in every other setting. If there's an issue lingering, it's only gonna worsen if it's not addressed, right? That fissure becomes a crack, and then it completely destroys the team. So if there's a lingering issue, address it.
Today on the podcast, we had Jeff Boss, Navy SEAL. He's also an author. I think you actually said he's an American version of a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he's a rock star. I mean, he's not a rock star like Emily Wolf was a rock star we've had on the past show, but he's just been on a mission, literally, to get to missions serving as a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about purpose. Anyone who's gone through that training, and he really understands leadership and what it means to be on a team. So pretty cool conversation with him.
Yeah, even the difference between a team and a group. If you don't know the difference between a team and a group, this might be the podcast for you. We are joined today by Jeff Boss. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Ryan. How you doing?
Good to see you, man. Just to give a quick little bio. I mean, I describe you as the American version of a Swiss Army knife. I thought it was important to put the American part in there. I mean, you're an author. You've got your book, Navigating Chaos. I know you've written a couple other books as well. You've been a keynote speaker, leadership consultant. You're a Navy SEAL. You're working for our government right now. And how we actually met was I had read your Forbes article way back when, about navigating chaos when I was writing Return on Courage. I was like, hey, this guy, we're speaking the same language, except, the only difference is you've lived courage. I've observed courage. That to me, you're in it. And as a Navy SEAL specifically, one of the things I hope we get to today is, why Navy SEAL for you? But before we do that, obviously it's a pretty tricky time here. We're still in the middle of a quarantine. I call COVID this invisible war. I mean, do you think this is a war?
Yeah. I'd say so. There's obviously an invisible enemy, but it's a new type of war that I don't think anybody's, certainly the world's never seen before. And it's not just a war against the virus. It's a battle. I think that everybody probably fights with themselves every day. I'm in Virginia under stay-at-home orders. It's been about a month now, and people are going nuts. Just having to stay at home and not socialize. Personally, I love it. I'm not a social butterfly. Staying at home completely suits me. But there are certainly friends and family who not just in Virginia, but they're clawing to get out. And so I think the battle is with themselves, there's that emotional need to, talk with people. I don't know why, but there's that.
Where are you from? Where are you from, Jeff? Where'd you grow up?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. And family, do you have siblings?
I do. I got a sister, and she's 2 years younger than me. Married to one of my best friends who's also a SEAL. Long story there that I'm not going to share in the podcast. Dad's in Vegas. Mom is in Richmond, Virginia. So,
nice. I'm out in Vegas. Well, what about why the military? Why the Navy? It seems like maybe it runs in the family a little bit now. So another SEAL, but was there anyone else in the military in your family?
No, not at all. My grandfather on my mom's side was in the Korean War. Grandfather on my dad's side was in World War II, and I'm pretty much the only military veteran since. But there wasn't any one thing drawing me to the military. I just wanted to do something cool. I wanted to carry a gun. I wanted to jump out of planes and blow stuff up. That's what I wanted to do. It wasn't about serving my country or anything that patriotic. I just wanted to do cool shit. So I figured if I'm going to do it, I might as well be the best at it. And in my mind, I figured the SEALs were the best. So I figured that's what I'm going to do.
How old were you when you were like, I want to blow shit up and do cool shit.
Probably 7 years old, but I mean, when I actually decided on a career path, I was probably I was 17 or 18 in in high school, and I tried to enlist after high school actually, and thank God I couldn't because I had this skin irritation on my wrist, and the doctor didn't know if it was contagious or not, and so it prevented me from enlisting. So I went to college, went to Ohio State, put my head down, studied, we were on quarters, not semesters, but I studied, I never took a quarter off, and I graduated in 3 years and enlisted after that.
I mean, was it an intentional, how fast can I get through this? And I want to get to the Navy, or I want to be a Navy SEAL?
Exactly. I had a laser focus. I ran, I swam, I did calisthenics pretty much 5 or 6 days a week for 3 years. And there's nothing else that I wanted to do. So
even when you went into the Navy, were you laser focused on becoming a Navy SEAL?
That's the only reason I went into the Navy. Yeah. I had a contract to go to BUDS. Back then, I think they call it it might have been dive fair, or I forget what the program was, but it's basically a contract that if you pass the physical screening test in boot camp, then you have a shot at going to BUDS, which is basic underwater demolition SEAL training.
What is that training like? I've read a couple books, including David Goggins' books, and it just I can't even fathom it. I mean, what was that like going through BUDS?
It's it sucks, and it's also the best time of your life. There's no other way to describe it, and I don't think it's even comprehensible to anybody who hasn't been through it to try to fathom something that's so just incredibly difficult physically, mentally, emotionally, but it's also the best time as well, because I mean the guys that were in my BUDS class, well, one of them is my brother-in-law. A couple other guys, they're still my best friends. So you go through something like that, and it's just amazing. Not just the bonds that are built from that, but just to see what the minds and the body are capable of. It's unbelievable.
Now, you made it sound like you were chummy with everyone in your BUDS, but from earlier conversations that you and I had, you were in like 3 different BUDS classes. Is that correct?
2. Yeah, 2. I started off in 234. I had a stress fracture in my femur that they discovered Wednesday morning of Hell Week, and I was rolled back to basically sit out of class, which was 235. That passed through, and then start up again with 236. So I had a 2-class roll.
And Jeff, you said the first day of Hell Week is when they found this thing. So how long were you in class? Like you were in BUDS until how long?
No, it was Wednesday morning of Hell Week. So we started Hell Week last Sunday to Friday. I was damn near midway through it. If I had made it to Wednesday evening, then I would have been rolled forward. But I was diagnosed with it Wednesday morning, so they rolled me back to day 1.
But how many weeks is BUDS?
26.
So you
Hell Week
25 weeks, and then they rolled you back?
No. Hell Week is the 3rd week.
Okay.
Yeah. Hell Week. A lot of people think that Hell Week is like the major cutoff point, and like after Hell Week, then you're good, smooth sailing. We actually lost more people after Hell Week in my BUDS class than during and leading up to Hell Week.
I had no idea that was a 3rd week. This is completely news to me. I thought it was like, it's the last week. What a surprise. The guy that I was in a fraternity just assumes it was like the last thing he did.
No, it's the beginning. Hell Week just demonstrates that you want to be there. And after Hell Week is when it really gets tough.
What did that do to your mental state? I mean, I assume like you knew something was wrong, but then to get rolled back, I mean, that has to be a little bit of a hurdle to go back and have to go back through it again. I mean, what does that do to you mentally?
Oh my God, it was soul crushing. It was completely soul crushing. I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I didn't know, they can drop you for medical reasons. They can do whatever they want with you. You're basically property of the Navy. So whether or not they keep you, it's kind of based on your past performance. Luckily, they kept me for a 2-class roll, and they classed up again. But I mean, God, I was completely, I was depressed isn't even the word, but when I look back, when it happened, I always wondered why it happened because there's no doubt in my mind I was going to be a SEAL. So I'm asking myself, why is this happening? I'm going to be a SEAL. So why does this have to happen to me right now, ever? And then it dawned on me later why it happened, because a lot of things transpired as a result of that. But the biggest one for me was just how much I learned about myself in that sort of state of anguish, state of despair, of misery. And when I came back 2 classes later, my pain threshold was like through the roof. Like I came back more confident and just more excited to go than I was even before. So it was honestly, it was awful, but it was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Why does that happen to us? Like we find a wall, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, I am going to do whatever I need to do to get through this. Like, was it just like a light switch that went off for you, or what?
It was. No, I would say not at the time. You mean
just adversity?
What I learned from it?
I mean, adversity in general. I think anytime there's adversity and you power through it, good things come of it.
Yeah,
but that's just my take. I mean, do you feel the same way, or?
Yeah, for sure. I think adversity is a school of choice for should be the school of choice, I should say. But yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people. I mean, you can't not learn from adversity, really. So, but at the time, nobody wants to go through that shit again. Nobody wants to carry a boat on their head for another week. Do any of that stuff. So it's like, I already did it. Why do I got to do it again? Well, there's a reason, and for me, it was self-discovery almost.
Well, I find that a bit ironic, right? Because when I think about the greatest formations of teams, I would think like the Navy SEALs is what team building is all about, where it's, yeah, you guys are one, but as you're going through BUD/S, do you feel that way? Do you feel like you have to get through it yourself and then the team comes together?
Yeah, at first you do, because prior to BUD/S, nobody really has any idea of what a real team is. When you start off, you can't help but think about yourself because you're thinking about why you're there, the goals that you have, and how you're going to make it through that evolution. But as the days go on and the weeks go on and the evolutions progress, you start to think, you'll always think about yourself, but the priority changes. You begin to think about the class, and then you begin to think about your boat crew, and then you begin to think about yourself last. And the class and the boat crew, those are almost interchangeable depending on the evolution, but the point being that you think about others first and yourself always comes last.
So if I remember, you were pretty tight with the group that you eventually had to roll back from, and then you had to sit there and wait for another team to go through. And were you close with, what was your graduating class, or?
236. Yeah.
Were you close with 236?
Eventually, yeah, for sure. I mean, I wasn't terribly close with the class I originated with, because I was only with them about 2.5 weeks. I still got some good friends from there, but I wasn't terribly close with them because I didn't spend the time with them. But 236 was the same way. We started off as a bunch of individuals, and we graduated as one cohesive unit. And just like anything, you tend to fall out of contact with a lot of folks. But we were actually going to have our bicentennial class meetup last month, but we didn't because of COVID. Excuse me one second. The bicentennial meeting, or I'm sorry, centennial, not bicentennial. Centennial class means that class 336 was about to graduate, and so it's customary for the 100 classes ahead previously to come through and kind of wreak havoc. So, but they got canceled. Where was I going with that? I totally forgot.
Well, no, I just think, again, the camaraderie that comes and the team building that comes from all of this. And you had shared a story about maybe this team didn't get off on the right foot. I imagine this is the one where you had a team leader kind of laid into you? Was that with this group?
So as most people would think, you go through Hell Week and you tend to gel as a class because, Hell Week is a pretty crazy experience, and you can't help but build bonds after that. Well, Hell Week is in first phase. Buds is divided into 3 phases. We were sitting in class in second phase one time on a Friday afternoon, the late Friday afternoon, and one of the second phase instructors comes in, and he sits on a table facing the class. We're in like a typical classroom, chairs facing forward. And he looks at us and he's like, I freaking hate this class. And we're like, all right, here it comes, getting beat for sure. We figured something he tells everybody. So he goes on and he's like, you guys don't care about each other. All you care about is not getting beat. You just want to get out of here. And I'm sick of it. Well, one of 2 things is going to happen come Monday. You will have either gelled as a class over this weekend. I don't care how you do it, figure it out, but you'll have either gelled as a class come Monday, or you show up Monday just as you are now, a group of individuals, and I'm going to beat you every day for the rest of second phase, for all of third phase, and all of SQT. And SQT is follow-on training. And so with that, he walked out. No beating, no push-ups, no get wet and sandy, none of that. So we're like, man, I think you meant it. Because it's kind of like your parents using your first, middle, and last name, or like not grounding you. It was unexpected, very unexpected. So we sat there in silence, just kind of wondering, shit, what do we do now? Because here we are, we're pretty much halfway through Buds, right? Been through Hell Week. I don't remember if we've been through pool comp. That's another big test. But every one of us was thinking, yeah, he's right. We are individuals, and we really haven't gelled because there's cliques all throughout this class. And so a suggestion was made to well, let me backtrack. You'll see where this comes into play. When I was rolled back from my stress fracture, I was rolled back 2 classes. So I started 234. I had to wait for class 235 to pass through before I could start up again with 236. And when 235 was just kind of waiting to class up, there was one particular guy who I'll just call John. I'll just call John. That he was nobody liked. He was just an asshole. And so there was probably, 5 or 7 of us just hanging out one day, and by the barracks, waiting for the I think muster to start, and we were going back and forth with John. One of the instructors saw it, and he came over and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" So we tell him, and he's like, "All right, everybody, close your eyes, lower your heads." So we all do it. And he's like, all right, everybody who has an issue with John, raise your hand. And the 5 or 6 of us raise our hand. And he says, okay, now I'm going to tell you to look up. And if you lower your hands before you look up, then you are a freaking coward. And so nobody lowered their hands. We all kept our hands raised. And he said, okay, now John, look at all these people who have issues with you. So he went through he went to each one of us and said, all right, we're going to start with, say you, Jeff, or you, Don, whoever. We're going to start with one individual, and then we'll go around the group. And you state your beef with John. And at the end, John is going to state his retort. And so we did. We each aired our own, issues. He aired his issue, why he is kind of the way he is. And after that, we're all friends. We're all buddy. And we were buddy for the rest of the time. What happened was we all heard each other. It was candid. We heard each other, and we vented some frustration. So we understood what was going on with each other. Now, fast forward back to that day in second phase classroom on that Friday in 236. I figured when this happened in 235, there was a much smaller scale, right? There's 5 or 7 of us. I'm thinking that this is a bigger scale. There are probably at the time, I don't know, 50 or 60 of us in second phase. We graduated 34, I think. So there's still more kind of fat to be cut. But we figured, let's try it. Let's try this on a bigger scale. So we started with the officer in charge. The officer in charge went up to the front of the class, faced the class, sat in a chair, and each and every person starting, it didn't matter what rank you were, starting with I don't know who, let's just say the lowest ranking up to the most senior ranking, each aired their own individual concerns or issues that they might have with the person in that chair. And the only rule was we couldn't attack them personally. We couldn't attack their values or who they were personally. We could only address their behavior and how that behavior affected the class. And so we spent probably 3 hours there, and it was awesome. It was awesome. We went through every single person, myself included, and at the end, our class was it was one unit. You didn't see, when you saw one of us, you saw all of us from then on out. So candor works.
I love that.
That's the moral of the story.
I think we should do that now. Ryan, why don't you tell me what you don't like about me first?
You used a lot of puns.
I love puns. That sounds personal. He said, don't make it personal.
What do you got for me?
I don't like that you live in Vegas.
Yeah.
You should get back to San Diego as fast as possible.
Jeff, is this something you used, like you took with you for the rest of your career into like training? I mean, is this a tool that you believe builds a good team?
Absolutely. I mean, you take everything with you. Everything that you learn on any given day, you always take with you, right? So when I got to subsequent teams, yeah, we did the same thing. We had issues with a senior leader, a very senior leader in our team, and we did the same thing, and it worked. It worked. I find that when I was a leadership coach, I found it was very easy to do it one on one. In a group setting, people are much more reluctant because they feel that their livelihoods are online. They feel that they're being attacked. They feel that if they show any sort of weakness, then they're going to be fired. And that's only because there's no trust in that group yet. You can only have those sorts of conversations when there's trust and a shared purpose, for that matter.
So what's the best team you've been part of? I mean, talking about trust, I assume it's one that you had a massive amount of trust in that team and built it over time. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. Naval Special Warfare Development Group was by far the best team I was a part of.
What made it special? I mean, beyond trust, what made them such a good team?
The selection process of the SEALs that were a part of it. There's just no BS. There's no time for BS. There was no. Everybody was just a high performer, and if you didn't measure up to standards, then you're given a second chance, and if you didn't measure up again, then you were gone. So,
what was give me the name of the team again?
Naval Special Warfare Development Group.
Naval Special Warfare Development Group. And how many SEALs are a part of that group?
I can't even tell you if you.
Is that like
some of the stuff?
Government? Yeah. Is this why you can't?
No, I mean like that number, like that would be classified. I wouldn't, even if I knew that off the top of my head, I can give an estimate, but I wouldn't.
And how long were you on this team for?
5.5 years.
Was there a worse team you were on?
No, I was at SEAL Team 4 before that. I wouldn't say it was worse, just different.
Different. One of the things you talk about that it always just gets me like my mind's blown by this in a good way is your definition or difference between what a group is and what a team is. Because they're different, right? Like groups versus teams, there are clear differences between the two. Can you explain the differences?
They are different. And a lot of people tend to think of a team. Well, they tend to think of a group of people as a team. and they use it as kind of like a kumbaya. Well, let's be a team. Let's tackle it as a team. Well, bullshit. Not every mission or task requires a team effort, And so to answer your question, groups have a clear purpose, right? They have a clear intention that everybody wants to achieve. Three of us, we have a clear purpose for why we're doing this podcast. Groups consistently communicate. There's clear roles and responsibilities in the group. There's accountability. We hold the professor accountable for showing up with being able to teach. He holds the students accountable for doing their homework. There's a process for work, for how work actually gets done. But that's not indicative. That doesn't mean that they're a team, right? They're a group. In a team, as opposed to a group, there's a shared purpose. Remember, in a group, there's a clear purpose. In a team, there's a shared purpose. In a team, communication is consistent, but it's also candid, right? Whereas in a group, there's just constant communication because there has to be. Still clear roles and responsibilities as in a team, in a group. Still a process for work. But the biggest difference, I would say, in a team versus a group is there's trust and there's respect. Respect meaning you don't have to like everybody on your team, but you have to respect them. You got to listen to them because you share the same purpose to get the job done, and you trust that they're going to be able to perform what they're supposed to perform.
Yeah, and again, the idea that there's a shared purpose, to me, that feels like the leader has done a good job in making sure there's been a transfer. So it's almost ingrained in the team and they can feel that it's shared. Do you concur with that?
Yeah. That's actually another characteristic of there's no set leader. The leader role is rotational. It defers to the person closest to the problem, like the person with the most expertise, person with the greatest context. Whereas in a group, there's, think of like a traditional hierarchy, leader at the top type thing, or teams, the leadership role rotates.
So is that similar where like in a group, there's accountability and a team, there's shared accountability?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting it. I'm starting to get it, Ryan. This is good news.
I mean, what else did you learn from your SEAL training that you brought into the coaching that you do now with teams? I mean, are there other big things that came out of being a SEAL?
Oh my God. Give me an hour to think about that one. Yes, I would say, you learn a lot about just team dynamics quite a bit. You learn where people sit, the behaviors they show, the nonverbal behaviors they show. I wouldn't say that's actually, I take that back. That's not unique to the SEALs.
Well, here's
think about that more.
Here's one. I mean, going through that training sounds scary to me and would like bring up a bunch of fears of my ability to even make it through a training like that. I mean, you have to have not only be physically in shape, but mentally. And I think, when people are working together in team environments, I mean, you're trying to accomplish something together. So are there tools that you learn to address fears and challenges that you've brought into your training with other groups and teams?
Yeah, tackle them. The first thing that you're scared of, tackle it. If you're apprehensive about something, attack it. That's the best way to get rid of that fear. So if there's an issue, it goes back to that candid conversation in the Buds classroom and in every other setting. If there's an issue lingering, it's only gonna worsen if it's not addressed, right? That fissure becomes a crack, and then it like completely destroys the team. So, if there's a lingering issue, address it immediately, and avoid the post-meeting conversations, the hallway conversations, because those do nothing but undermine trust and credibility in the team. So, yeah.
What do you think hinders people from just having candor or being able to tackle those types of issues immediately? I mean, what gets in the way?
Trust, the lack thereof. So that could be, Psychological safety is a big one too. Psychological safety meaning how safe I feel in my environment to express my concerns, to express my issues. If I don't trust, if you and I are, say we're just, going at a head, and you don't trust my reaction, my potential reaction, then you're probably not going to tell me what's on your mind, and vice versa. If I don't know how you're going to take this, if I don't know how you're going to respond, or if I think that you might hold animosity towards me or try to backstab me or just do something, not cool, then I'm going to play politics, and I'm going to be nice to your face and, do something, kind of backhanded to get what I need. That's when there's no trust there. If there's trust, then I can just tell you straight up, Brian, hey, we're having this issue. This is what I think is going on, and this is what I think we could do to help. So trust is I think it's the hardest thing to build, but once you have it, it's there. It's also the easiest thing to break too,
Yeah. I mean, how do you build trust? I mean, it's not just trust falls. I mean, you're actually developing a relationship, right?
Right, exactly. So, I think, there's lots of strategies for building trust. There's, leaders walk around and just kind of show their face, have conversations with them, build rapport with people. Consistent interaction is I think the buy-in for building trust, because if you don't see somebody, then who knows? You don't know them. Why should they trust you? Why should you trust them? You never see them. But once you start interacting on a consistent basis, then you can trust that person's going to show up, and then you can trust that person to be accountable for whatever they need to be held accountable for. But just that consistent interaction at first is a small step to building the trust.
Yeah, I don't think that's a small point, right? I mean, consistency, showing up, how you show up. I do wonder in BUD/S or in the military, is part of your training to take the emotion out of decision making?
Absolutely. So there's kind of a pecking order of decision making that starts in BUD/S, and it just builds and builds as you kind of get to your team and begin to plan missions and stuff like that. And the pecking order is mission, team, me. So how is this going to benefit the mission? How is this going to benefit the team? How might this benefit me, or where do I fit in really to each one of these other two? That has caveats though too. There's no 100% solution, because if, say, for example, we have a hostage rescue mission, and that hostage is being held on a mountaintop, and there's like a 5-click radius of an early warning network all around, then we're not going to go in, because we're not going to have a tactical disadvantage being at the bottom of the hill trying to work our way up. So that poses an immediate threat to the team. So that's when you have to prioritize the team over the mission. We just got to find another way for the mission. But to answer your question, when you can follow, when you know what's best for the mission or what's best for the team, then you can kind of disregard any emotion attached to it, because you know in your head, right, what's going to be better.
Yeah, and of course in the workplace, I think especially this next generation that's coming up, they're wildly driven by purpose. Right? Yeah, that's emotional. That's I think many of the problems we're seeing in corporate America right now are, hey, if I'm talented, I'm going to go find the right perfect job for me. I mean, if there's no purpose here, if there's no emotion or soul here, I'm going to go find something else. There's no conviction. I'm ghost. So how do you see that in your world?
Well, I would distinguish between purpose and emotion. I think you can get excited when you have a purpose, but when I think of emotion, to your previous question, I'm thinking of like anger, frustration, sadness, joy. Separate those from the mission or the task at hand. That's what I am thinking about when I'm thinking of emotion. But to your second question, to this current question about purpose, I mean, purpose is everything. It's not just this generation. I mean, I want a purpose. Who doesn't want purpose in their life? So I don't think it's generational. I think it's a basic human need.
And I imagine you have to have it, especially when you decide you're going to go do, as you called it, cool shit. But it's more than that. It's, there's a real purpose to it. And even the way you've described the training in the past to me, I think you used the term stress inoculation, which is a very aloof sounding term. What does stress inoculation mean?
It's basically making I don't know, basically making you anti-stress, inoculate against stress. It's like putting up some armor and kind of dealing with the stress later while you're under stress and just focusing on the task at hand.
To me, what I remember most about our interview is you're like, yeah, basically we train. So by the time we see live bullets, we've seen everything, and the stress, not that it completely fades away, but is that your take on it?
Yeah. Deployments for us were a break. Like deployments for us were like the best part, because it was a break from all the kind of BS and the stress back at the command, back on, in the States. So there's stress on the job. There's stress in kind of just in the team. Stress gets old, but when you're deploying, all you got to do is focus on one thing, and that's the next mission.
You once said, obviously this is a show about courage and courageous podcast, and you once said to me, I don't see myself as courageous. I see it as the byproduct of the purpose I'm pursuing. That's pretty heavy.
Did I say that? That's pretty creative.
It's good, man. It made the book. No, but in some ways, my interpretation of that is purpose above all, right? Once you have a purpose and you train for that purpose, it actually makes it easier to go do those things that maybe someone once saw as courageous.
Right. I think, once you have that mission, once you have that laser focus, nothing else matters. Your apprehension, fear, anxiety, stress, those don't matter, because I have this laser focus, this task, this mission that I'm going to achieve. I'll feel about how I feel about them later. I'm just going to put all those emotions aside because I have stuff to focus on. And once I achieve it, then I can come back and, maybe then I'll revisit the fear. I'll revisit the anxiety, but chances are I probably won't, because I will have already achieved the task. So it's kind of like putting your emotions on hold until you get to where you want to be.
Do you miss being a Navy SEAL though?
No, not necessarily a SEAL. I miss the purpose. I miss the importance of what we're doing, and definitely the caliber of guys I was working with. But that's about it.
Have you found another purpose now that you're chasing?
I have. In my competitive shooting is one of them. Another one will remain undisclosed. But yeah, it's a constant. You're constantly sharpening the saw, looking for the next grind, next purpose.
Come on, give it up. What is it, a personal one? Is it a personal purpose?
No, sorry.
He's like, unsubscribe, opt out, refuse it.
No, definitely not.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, well, look, Jeff, really appreciate your time, man. As always, I feel like every time we get on the phone, even if it's just, whether it's a podcast or something else, I learned something new from you. And even this mission team me, I love that. I'm so going to swipe that and be like, and we always talk about mission of record for my current business, but I love the way you go about that. It's just the importance of prioritizing, so it's clear for everybody. So thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thank you. And, I wouldn't, SEALs are one thing to, talk about courage with, but honestly, being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. It is not easy. So, I wouldn't put that to the wayside either. So, there's a lot of courage from your side as well, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is a little crazy, but hey, well, purpose. I always say being an entrepreneur, it's a byproduct of the purpose I'm pursuing.
That's right.
Making that up as we go along. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Next week on the Courageous Podcast, we're joined by ex-NFL player Brandon Lloyd.
If you enjoyed the episode, please give us 5 stars, subscribe, and leave us a comment.